Hi everyone. So for my final project, I decided to talk about how information technology intersects with medicine and impact on patients. Um, I think this is a pretty cool subject. I did some obvious research on it, and it's crazy how over the last century and century and a half, how technology has progressed in different ways. Not necessarily just with computers and stuff like that, but just the tools that people have created over time in a hospital setting and for to benefit us, when we get sick or we need surgeries and things of that nature. So, that being said, I chose this because, it's very dear to me, and I think I think health is such a, vital part of our lives, and, some way, somehow we're all connected to it, and, we might know somebody that might be suffering, or somebody that's gone through something, or somebody that's, been healed and, has recovered miraculously, and I think all that ties back into technology and how it intersects with our work. Um, so that being said, I'll touch through various things. The first one, information technology has brought an immense benefit to the patient. Okay, and this could get a little tricky because with technology at our fingertips, we tend to overreact sometimes. And I think everybody's been a victim of it, and I know I have, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have. Um, we'll jump right on the computer and we'll type something in WebMD, and we'll start freaking out or say that's no big deal or whatnot. And it could be there's pros and cons to that. But I mean, we're all educated, and I think there's more pros to it than cons. Um, we're not doctors, so we should still get checked out anyways. But there's certain things that you're pretty sure about or just want to wait out. Going online just helps out a lot too. Um, if you got a fever or sore throat, you can there's probably remedies, and there's things that you can do to help treat that. Um, that being said, we can also there's danger that exists with that because God forbid you have some sort of mass or something that doesn't look normal, and you think it's something else. You might hold off, and it could wait too long, and that's you should not do that. So I think that's huge. So as good as the web is, you guys got to still go back to the doctor and stuff like that. Another thing that I like to touch on is medicine. Um, we have progressed so much as a society, and obviously because of information technology and everything that we've come up with, certain tools that we use now, everything's, there's various codes with some of these, crazy robots that perform surgeries now. And, we used to have huge scars from different surgeries. We used to have ongoing side effects, and in today's world, that's almost non-existent to a certain extent. I mean, I'm not saying that there's bad scars or whatnot, but you know, a good example is I have an uncle that had a herniated disc many years ago, and his scar was huge. I mean, it was a quarter way down his back, and then my girlfriend's uncle just had a surgery for the same thing, same exact thing. And the incision was so small, I'm telling you, it was probably not even an inch long. And all they had to do was put a simple little band-aid over it, and you're good to go, and you walk out. Um, so that is just a really good indicator of how far we've come and how technology has progressed us. Um, we could do certain things. We could make really small incisions. We could get right to where the problem is, the root of it, and we could attack it and fix the problem. So that being said, too, we're so much cleaner. Certain there might have been a certain surgery, 25 years ago, 30 years ago that it could get messy. Maybe there was a lot of blood loss, or maybe it was just a crazy war room, with tools flying all over the place and people freaking out. now everything's precise, very, very precise. Um, there's even certain things that us, humans, I guess doctors or whatnot, used to do by hand, but we've got robots now that literally do the whole entire surgery by themselves. Obviously, it's under the supervision of a doctor and all that, but we humans have hands. We're human, and the hand is only as steady as it can get. And fortunately, with a robot or some sort of software, controls that, and it's as accurate as it can be. Um, so that's huge. So another thing that we could talk about is um, fatalities. This kind of all correlates because research shows that there's a lot less fatalities now during surgery. And I mean that's kind of everybody should know about that, and I think everybody knows about that. But like I said, 30, 40 years ago, surgery back then is completely different than what it is today in 2016. Um, and what I was saying and alluding to was like with bleeding and stuff like that. Back then it was a little harder. I mean, not to say that they couldn't do it back then, but we have so many various tools and so many devices that can help us just eliminate bleeding and control the patient, and we have different drugs now, and all that ties into technology is just research, research, research. Everything's at our fingertips. And if you walk into a hospital now, I mean, everything's. I mean, you walk into Baptist or you go to Jackson, um, everything somehow ties back to a computer, you know, and software. So that's huge. We can stabilize people a lot easier now, and that, like I said, all ties back to that. Um, Another reason, this could be a con. Okay, as good as technology has gotten, okay, nothing's bulletproof. We do have hackers, and throughout my research, I have seen that there has been many cases of people's identities being stolen. Um, it's gotten a lot better now. Major hospitals have really good protection. But that being said, there's a plenty of patient information there, and all these servers and backups and hard drives and clouds and all that. There's tons and loads of information, and unfortunately, there are those people that will hack in there and steal identities and pull out credit cards and could ruin lives of certain people. I mean, so that's something that negatively, I guess, IT has intersected with medicine. But that being said, we are well on our way to getting a really nice system, and hopefully soon enough, all that stuff will be non-existent. The last thing you want is somebody going through something and then they got to worry about identities being stolen or whatnot. Um, so another thing that we can talk about is how hospital information systems and how they've developed and started taking rich data. Um, so we got obviously see CAT scans, MRIs, all those different types of imaging systems, and we can now develop these systems to just help us immensely because we can actually take. I don't know if you got. I don't know if anybody's gone through something recently, but you know, um, I've had a sinus issue for a long time, and I've had my sinus cavities all banged up. They're not as normal, I guess. And finally, I went to an ENT, and the ENT said, we're gonna do a CAT scan, and I was like, a CAT scan? He said, yeah. So when he did the CAT scan, he went ahead and did his thing, and everything shows up. And what was really neat about it is that immediately this with the system with the CAT scan, he stored it onto a CD drive. And now, I mean, I had the ability. I mean, he told me that, do you want it on a CD? Do you want it on a USB or whatnot? And I mean, just because of with my Mac, I kind of still use a CD drive a lot. I was like, yeah, just throw it on a CD. And that was really neat because you couldn't do that back in the day. And then it was neat because, I met with my parents and I told them, hey, this is what's going on. And I explained it to them. And, they were able to get a better idea of what's going on. And then that was really neat. And I think that can help everybody too because, it kind of brings peace of mind in certain ways. Because, like, you know what the problem is. It's there. So you see it and you say, hey, you know what? This could be fixed. So I think that could bring closure to a lot of people as well. So that was pretty neat. Um, Another thing that I found really interesting was, in the next 10 years, we expect more sophisticated human computer interfaces, some things I was just alluding to, and voice and handwritten recognition. Um, there's certain techniques like telesurgery into, penetration of techniques such as the telesurgery into mainstream clinical practice. Um, and then there's also will be for education purposes, there will be sophisticated undergraduate and postgraduate computer-based training, which, the way everything's going right now, I'm not saying for sure, but um, 30 years from now, this video could be talking about how robots do everything now. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but, you never know. You never know. I mean, maybe somebody that had, a herniated disc, it could be a simple machine doing the surgery now. So with these educationally, I do think that these postgraduate and undergraduate based training systems are going to help immensely. And it's going to help better structure the portability of electronic health records too. Like I was saying earlier, the health records is good, it's a big deal, and I think we're going to be able to lock that in a lot better. So yeah, that's some of the topics right there. Um, so if I another thing that we could talk about is the development of convergence of information and communication technologies in a hospital setting. Um, this actually led to the boom in networking, both within hospitals and organizations. The first major effect of this was in the early 90s. This was the evolution of data sharing concepts and the emergence of integrated information systems. Um, Everything has just gotten to a certain level with networking that we can pull up information and then access it and share it, with different doctors and stuff like that. That it doesn't take forever, and time is crucial, especially with a medicinal and hospital setting. So everything's just really booming. It's getting better and faster, and I don't see it slowing down. It's not going to slow down. It will never slow down. Um, Technology is moving fast, probably too fast in certain areas, but it is moving fast. But that's where we're at today, and I'm totally fine with it. There's certain things to work on. You can never take the human element out of certain things. The last thing I want is a robotic nurse coming over to me. I'd rather have somebody come over and talk to me and whatnot. But all this ties into technology and how IT, everything just goes hand in hand. People walking around, hospitals with little stand-up computers, and you can pull up things on the web and stuff like that, and infrastructures within a hospital. Everything ties into IT. Whether it's coding or bitmaps, displays, all that. Everything comes up. You can look at they have what they call pelicans. And they have the Christmas trees with oxygen. All that stuff is it's in the display right around the corner. We didn't have that long ago. Guys. So yeah, so this is an overview of how IT intersects with medicine and technology, medicine and the hospital. And hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks.